Welcome back to the Introduction to Russian History Anchor Fact series. Last time we looked at the beginning of the story, when the first version of Russia, Kievan Rus, was created circa 862 AD. Today our topic is the adoption of Christianity in Russia. The single famous event that caused this is known as the Baptism of Rus, circa 988 AD. As we saw last time, Russia did not have contact with most of Europe when it was formed. Because the rivers of Russia permitted the Vikings to move east and south from the Baltic Sea, and then to move further south via the other rivers to the Black Sea, Russia is a country that began in the far east of Europe, isolated from events elsewhere. For a comparison, it's useful to think of what was happening in Europe. From 800 to 43, as I hope you know from the Noble World Anchor Fact series on European history, Charlemagne's Frankish Union was trying to combine various conquered tribes into one new empire. Just a little later, Rurik was taking over the tribes of Russia. The difference is that Rurik was successful. Europe did not become one nation, but Russia did. The one connection that Russia had to Europe was to Constantinople, the last remaining major Roman city, used as the capital of the Roman Empire by Constantine, after whom it is named. Constantine, as you may remember from our Anchor Fact series on Rome, was the first Christian Roman emperor. So you would think that Russia had contact with Christianity at Constantinople, and it did, but it was not what you might expect. That is because most Christians think of Rome as the center of Christianity. That is where the most important religious leader lives, who is referred to as the Pope. But when the Roman Empire fell in 476, the Christians of Constantinople and the remaining Roman Empire turned to their local leader instead, the Patriarch of Constantinople. At first, this would not have been a big difference, because all the leaders of Christianity had agreed to a standard version at a council called by Constantine himself. During the centuries to come, however, there came to be disagreements about the meaning of Christianity. Although we can't go into the details, the essence of the story is that the Patriarch of Constantinople became the leader of a separate branch of Christianity known as Orthodox Christianity. Probably the most recognizable symbol of Christianity in Europe and America is the cross, the symbol of the death of Jesus. In Orthodox Christianity, as you can see here, the symbol is sometimes different. That change was made by the leaders of Russia. Leaders of Christianity were invited to Russia early in history to present their interpretations, and it was the Orthodox interpretation that was accepted. Then something dramatic happened, a baptism of the people of Russia. A baptism, for those who might not know, is a religious ceremony where water is poured over the body as a symbol of becoming Christian. Sometimes it is done with babies. Sometimes it is done for adults who choose to become Christians. This had happened before. When the Franks became Christians, the same thing happened. Clovis, their leader, was baptized, and then all the Franks were baptized. In Russia, the leader was Vladimir the Great. Yes, there are a lot of Vladimirs in Russian history. When he was baptized, circa 988 AD, all the Russians were expected to be baptized too. This is following a rule that people used to believe in, that the ruler and his people must absolutely have the same religion. The later phrase that captures this idea is cuius regio, eius religio. The basic meaning is, the ruler chooses the religion. In today's world, we don't agree. America, especially, is based on the idea of religious freedom, which means the government shall make no law concerning an establishment of religion. In America and most modern countries, you can believe in whatever religion you want, including no religion. It took a long time for people to understand why this is so important, however. It took many religious wars for people to learn that if you don't have religious freedom, people will kill each other to decide which religion has the power of government. But in the Dark Ages, this truth was not understood. People believed that if the ruler has a religion, then the people must have it too. In a way, it's easy to understand. Why would people be loyal to someone if he has a different religion than they do? When people accept a certain religion, it affects what they believe is the meaning of life. Most religious people believe in a God who created the universe and who sent human beings messages about how to live their lives and be good people. Since there are many disagreements about this belief, it is not surprising that many millions of people have killed each other in history because they believe the meaning of life is different. So the rulers of Russia wanted to have one nation with one belief in common for all the people. This would become very important because partway through the Dark Ages, Europe was invaded by the Mongols from Asia, and they would need to have a common cause to fight for. We'll look at that dramatic story in the next episode. See you then.